there a lot of people in the trades with big beards?
No.
Is it like a hazard?
Might be. It might be. If you're an electrician, I feel like for sure.
Like
Why?
I don't know why. Just wires just hanging down. I don't
just
know.
like light your face
Conductive.
on fire?
Yeah.
Is that the fear? Like what's the worst that could happen? That?
Get it, like, depending on how long, you could get it caught in a saw or something.
Oh, yeah,
or
that's true.
But
that's
then when
true.
you just saw it off?
it could tangle and pull.
Okay.
Yeah,
you
pull your
towards-
face in.
Okay.
the saw.
Okay. That's worst case scenario. I can buy
It
that.
actually happened to one of our framers. In the winter, everyone knows you got to wear like 3 pairs of gloves if you're framing outside. So he had gloves on with a saw, and then he was going to cut, and his fingers got caught. And 3 of the tips of his fingers came off.
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
go back on?
Yeah, it was his fingers were frozen. So like, so he kept it
They
on.
were perfect. They were already.
There's the perk of working out in
Pre-frozen.
winter. I'm like, I can
Exactly,
do whatever I
yeah.
want and I'll be fine.
Go to the doctor, and his wife is a nurse, sees him there. It's like, what'd you do? And then it's just like he has the glove on and then pulls it down and sees that 3 of his fingers are a lot shorter all of a sudden.
all of a sudden.
Yeah, all
Someone
of a
listening to
sudden.
the podcast is passing out right now.
Yeah. Blood warning.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of JourneyCast. My name is Levi,
I'm Alicia.
and today we're joined by Nicholas Fehr.
Oh, yeah.
Not to be confused with Nick.
No.
Yeah. No. I don't know where that name came from.
Yeah.
Nicholas.
It's just how you introduce yourself to most people.
I know it's sad.
So you prefer Nicholas?
I do.
I'm having a
It's-
hard time with this.
It's a new thing. It's so when I was younger, I wanted to be called Nicholas, right?
Yeah.
And then I got into some bad habits, and I just like this is just straight to the testimony, pretty much.
Okay.
But yeah, and then I got into bad habits, and I felt like Nicholas was my birth given name, and I'm like, no, let's change it to Nick because I don't feel well. Like I hate myself, so I'm gonna change my name. And then now I've come to the Lord, and it's just like, hey, I want my name back. Like, give me Nicholas back.
It's a symbolism
Yeah.
there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That deeply motivates me to say it correctly.
Awesome. No, it doesn't bother me. It bothers me when I introduce myself as Nick and not Nicholas. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
But
I was telling Levi this week when I went to college, there was a girl there named Melanie, and I guess Melanie means darkness. And so she wanted to change her name to mean something else. And so like after knowing her for a while, she
Yeah.
changed her name to Milana because Milana means light.
Oh, boy.
But like, oh man, like to look at the same person and call them a totally different name. Like I said it wrong so many times, but like she had no grace for us.
Yeah.
She was really upset. I am not darkness. I'm light. I was like, I'm so sorry. I like try so hard, but I still think about it.
I just recently Googled my name, and I think it was like Nicholas means for the people. And I love that. I'm a big people person, sadly. That's
Are you
just-
an introvert or an extrovert?
No, extrovert, I think.
Yeah?
I'm very outgoing. Whatever that
Well, you
one
can
is.
be outgoing and still be an introvert.
Are you fueled up by being around people or by being by yourself?
By myself, but I love being with people to
So you're
spread
the
the
same.
word.
You're the same as me, though. Like
Yeah.
I'm an introvert, but I enjoy being around people.
Yeah.
But what refuels you is your alone time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, with good people, like at youth, I don't feel drained ever.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do when the kids are going crazy.
You work with grade 7s. It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised because everyone told me, I was like, oh, don't worry. If they're not going to talk right away, it's okay.
Yeah.
2 weeks into it, these kids are nonstop yelling. It's just like, what do you mean? This is not hard. Let them be themselves.
It depends on the group. Honestly, there's been some
That's true.
different dynamics for different groups over the years that.
Can you get them to answer
try and predict.
questions though? Or like, is it just like they're talking?
Most of the time, they're all good, but two of them are tough.
You know who you are.
They do. If they listen, they do. They know.
Oh man.
I mean, there's some of my favorite students, those kids, but
Yeah.
the 2 that talk the most, I can just tell like they're interested, but they just don't know how to say it. And one of them, I think, is going to be a pastor one day.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Ooh.
He can, he's very good at like illustrating stuff, or I don't know how you would say it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, he reads a piece of the Bible and tries to explain it to us, but he says it in a way a kid would understand it.
Okay.
So it's like really opens everyone else's eyes. So he's like, so I understand it. And then he brings it to Fortnite and then explains it in that way. And everybody
That's
gets
pretty
it.
impressive.
Wow.
Right?
That's cool.
I know. And he's a good kid. They're all good kids.
Yeah.
One of them scares me though, but he doesn't come to youth.
After.
Yeah, I'll explain who after, but
Yeah.
can't say his name here.
I actually saw today that I think it was in 2023. Some parents won a court case in Canada against Fortnite for being too addictive to their children.
That's fair.
I mean, there is like the argument to be made that it has those microtransactions or whatever that are considered gambling. Because you're like buy this mystery box and you might get. I think that might be in Fortnite. I don't know.
Sounds like it is.
But like, well, a lot of games have this where it's like
Yeah.
buy this mystery box really cheap and you could get something that's worth more. So you're gambling, hoping that you're going to get something worthwhile.
But it's just like 1 in every 10 you'll get it.
Yeah.
Like Warzone.
Yeah.
That's for sure like that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that my mom was very, very strict with that. So like if she knew,
I tried
off the
playing.
rails.
Someone invited me to try and play Warzone the other day, and I was like, "Well, don't you have to pay for this game and stuff?" And he's like, "No, it's free.
Yeah.
You can just play for free. Like you buy the fancy upgrades and stuff, but it's like fun not if you don't buy those." I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'll try it." First round I got into, I like dropped in on a rooftop,
nice.
and I didn't know how to change my gun. I didn't know who to tell who was on my, and like I was terrible at the aiming. Like it'd been a while since I played a shooter game, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. And then I like tried getting off the roof and fell down and died. And
Oh,
so
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like playing Warzone anymore because it's just, it like makes me so angry that to the point where it's like I'm cursing. So it's just like, you know what? Let's not play Call of Duty. I'm just going to go play Minecraft.
yeah,
And that's it.
so peaceful that game can be.
It can be.
Minecraft.
can
that
be.
music.
what should we say about Nick? Nick, you
Nicholas.
are. See, it's so hard.
I don't even catch it either.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nicholas is a newly engaged man.
Oh, yeah.
About to be married. You work in the trades. This being on a podcast is one of your bucket list items.
yeah.
Man, look at you knocking that off the list
Yeah. I'm trying
early
to.
on.
I'm young and life isn't around forever.
Yeah.
So let's knock this bucket list out. No, my bucket list is going to come to an end as soon as I want to get into youth ministry. That's the plan.
I was worried that you were going to say my bucket list will come to an end when I'm married.
No. I mean, some of it might because Amanda has no interest in it, but her siblings do. Like one of mine is skydiving. I want to go skydiving.
Oh, yeah.
And
Selena will for
loves
sure.
it. Yeah. And
That's
Amanda's like,
true.
no.
Yeah.
So
Would you ever skydive?
It doesn't seem worth the risk.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
the
And
risk isn't all that high though.
I know, but I've seen enough stories of people being like the chute and the backup chute both failed and they just
Like, I get
Yeah.
sick on swings. Do you think it's a good idea to just, I don't know.
I get sick from swings too, but you just got to go through it.
No, I don't have to.
yeah.
You should. I recommend it.
And it's like it's pretty. I feel like it's pretty expensive too.
I'm guessing so. You're jumping out of a plane.
Yeah,
Like that's like I'm gonna like
the
challenge
insurance that
death.
you would have to pay for as a company to let people skydive out of your plane would be
I mean, like
Fairly high, right?
substantial.
you have to sign. So like if I die, my family will not
yeah,
sue.
yeah. But I think you still probably have to pay a lot in insurance.
Probably.
So,
I don't know.
And you probably do need like some sort of permit. You can't just like
Oh, yeah. I
willy
can't-
nilly let people jump out of your plane without
Oh,
talking
yeah.
to any sort of
I'm assuming there's like zones where
Official-
you can and cannot land.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they're
Like maybe you have a deal with a farmer that you can land on their land or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, no, they have specific things they have to
Yeah.
do. But I think it's after like 6 or 7 times, they give you a permit to do it yourself.
Oh.
So you can go and they'll give you a parachute and you don't need an instructor anymore. You just when the guy says go all by yourself.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Sounds
Do you
terrible.
want to get to that point?
No. Okay.
You just want to do it once and be done.
I'm thinking of it now and my stomach's already turning around, but I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
I love having fun. I like when things that make me nervous are the funnest things to do. That's the best thing to do.
So
for me.
proposing felt nice.
Oh, proposing was the easy part. Asking
do you
the
wanna tell
dad
us-
was the hard part.
Do you want to? Oh, yeah.
Oh, I could tell you a story about that one. I
Did he
felt
try to
Tell us,
scare you?
Tell us.
no.
No.
So, like, okay, I bought the ring, and I'm like, I'm gonna ask her dad. Like, let's just do this.
Yeah.
And then I get there, and there's just not a good time. There's just not a good time. Amanda's always right beside me, or in the living room, and they're in the kitchen. It's just like, you know what? Get out of here. Go. I love
Yeah.
you, but go.
To try and I see what you're saying.
Yeah, to ask the dad, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I should go shower because me and Chris are gonna go out. I'm like, sweet, go shower.
Yeah.
That's convenient. I was thinking you could just like start giving her cups of water.
You seem dehydrated.
No, the thing is, if I said that, she would know something's wrong because she's got like a ton, like a humongous water
true,
bottle.
yeah.
She just carries it around.
Yeah.
As soon as it's empty, she's like, Nicholas. She's like, come
Yeah.
open this. And it's just like the hardest thing to do is open it. It's insane. But I learned a trick for anyone else that has a Stanley. Bang it on something. It works.
Oh.
It releases the pressure.
Oh, wow.
I learned that the hard way.
So there's just a bunch of dents and
No, there's no dents.
water.
You don't got to smack it hard. Like,
Okay.
just find something that
just like even a little tap with with your palm.
or even like a quick fork all the way around. That works too.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just because the pressure is so, like, it's really good
How's
at
their
keeping the
pressure?
water in there.
Like if there's like, isn't it what? Like, is it a straw one or like a
Like
little?
vacuum sealed.
You screw it and then you put a straw in there.
Yeah.
It's weird, but then it just somehow sucks. Just it expands and it's just like you ain't going nowhere. Yeah.
Interesting.
Stanley is cool but expensive.
Goodness,
Very
yes.
expensive.
All right.
Women have trampled each other over those mugs.
Okay, it's back
Oh,
to
I
the
know.
engagement.
Yeah, back
Yes,
to the engagement.
back to the engagement.
So she's about to go shower, and then I'm just feeling it. I'm like, oh boy, I'm about to ask. And I get so sick. Like, I could puke. My face was red. Everything
Was
was...
he in the room with you or in like another room? Like where's Dad at this point?
Dad is in the shower,
Oh, okay.
and Amanda is beside me. So this is the worst possibility. Like, he
Yeah.
just went to the shower.
Yeah.
Amanda's not going yet. She
Yeah.
doesn't want to. She wants
Yeah.
to say goodbye to her dad.
Yeah.
And so I'm feeling anxious, and then I take some pills because her mom's like, oh, you look like you have a fever. And I'm like, I can't say no. If I say no, they'll be like,
Suspicious.
just suspicious, or she's just going to force it down.
Yeah.
Because that's who she is, which
Yeah.
I don't really care.
So I
It's like
thought
my
you
mom.
had a fever, but you're really just nervous.
Oh, I was so nervous.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
nervous. Yeah. And then, so what happened after that? Shoot. Right. Okay. Amanda goes downstairs. I go with her. I'm like, oh, you should go shower. You should go shower. She's like, yeah, but I really don't want to. I want to say goodbye to my dad. And I'm like, well, he's in there right now. So if you hurry, you'll get to meet, you still get to say goodbye to him. She's like, true. Like, okay, I'm going to go shower. I'm like, sweet. Got that out of the way. And I was praying and hoping that after this, he would come out. No.
No.
He was in there for a bit.
Taking his time.
Yeah. 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes. And I was just like,
He didn't know you
get
were
out.
waiting.
No, he didn't.
Very important question.
I
He's
was
just like,
He was like, just a normal day about to go to work.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, he finished showering. I'm like, sweet, he better come in here. No, walks to his room
Yeah.
to get changed, of course. And I'm just like, dude.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Seems
right.
reasonable.
But it took 10 minutes. And I'm like Amanda's about to be done. And I get so nervous. So he comes in there and I hear the shower downstairs stop, turned off. And I'm like, I have 5 minutes to do this, 5 to 10 minutes to finish this off. So I get straight to the point.
Get in here.
Yeah, I get straight to the point. I'm like, hey, I'm here to ask for your permission to marry your daughter. And they're just like, well, we'll have to think about it at first as a joke. And then they just looked at each other and laughed. And then they're like, yeah, we give you permission. Yeah. And then I'm like, sweet. And then just as he said that, like I gave him a hug and I gave the mom a hug. And then like, I guarantee you, 2 seconds after, Amanda's up there.
Whoa, that's so close.
I know. I was like, whoa.
She's like, what are you doing? You're like, I miss your parents. I just wanted to say hi.
Just chilling. Just
Hugging.
just
Yeah.
vibing. You know, I'm a
we
hugger.
do this sometimes.
For no reason.
Yeah. And
Are
then
you crying? No.
And then I'm all right. I'm about to go because I thought Amanda would have plans.
Yeah.
But I actually asked because it was either going to be. So this was like a Thursday, and then I was supposed to ask Saturday, but it turned out that her dad wasn't home Saturday. He was going to be driving on the road, so Thursday was the only day.
Yeah.
So I texted her friend Chris. I was like, hey, can you text Amanda and just make up some type of lie? You're about to go somewhere to get her in the shower. To do something, I don't care. And then she did, but she really didn't want to go anywhere. So I'm like, it's okay. You don't need to. I just need you to distract her. That's it. And she's like, okay, I can do that. And then, oh man, it worked out perfectly. And then I was back to just the normal color that I
Yeah.
am.
They're like, oh, the pills worked.
Yeah, the pills
Your
worked.
fever broke.
Yeah, my
fever's
fever's
gone.
gone. I'm like, yeah, I feel so much better. and then I was telling Amanda, I was like, man, I can't wait to propose to you soon. And then she was just like, soon? I'm like, did you ask my dad? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. She was like, what? She's very strict. Like, So she's like, did you? I'm like, I can't say. She's like, Nick, you know how I am. Like, if you didn't ask, I'm not saying yes. So I'm like, okay, I asked, and they said yes. And then she got really excited and started hitting me. Of course, that's typical Amanda.
She
That's
hits you when
great.
she's excited.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
seems
It's just how they are.
I feel like I've seen that before.
Oh,
It's
definitely.
like hitting someone. I'm like, oh, what's happening?
Yeah, it's just
Term of endearment.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. My mom was the same way. My grandma was the same way. So
You know when my mom finds something really funny,
What?
she'll just like smack me on the arm.
I'm a smacker as well.
Yeah.
that's funny.
Eli
She'd be
used
like,
to complain about it even. He'd come over and but he would tell me about all his bad choices or something. Well, they're not really bad choices.
There's a little bit of
I like to tease Eli,
like,
but
stop.
like I'm just like, stop
Yeah.
that.
Being
But
bad.
he would tease me about stuff all the time that he knew would irritate me. So just like,
What my mom and brother used to do was on the backs. Straight like 5-star, right
Oh,
on the
wow.
back, as hard as they could.
Oh,
Not as
wow.
hard as they could, because my brother Josh was strong. My mom's my mom, right?
Yeah.
So she did as hard as she could, and then my brother would be like, and then like 5 minutes go by, and then bang, right on his back. Sorry.
You're about to have two brother Joshes then.
Yeah, and two
gonna be
brother
confusing.
Jasons, and
Oh, wow.
two sister-in-laws named Anna.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be confusing times, but it's gonna be fun.
Actually, it's probably pretty easy. There's fewer names to remember.
I mean, yeah, true.
Oh gosh.
But yeah,
So Nick, how'd you meet Amanda?
well, we have two different stories.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you ever have her on here, you can ask her
Yeah.
what her story is. But my
Yeah.
story is my buddy met her somewhere. I forget where. And then he started liking her, and then he's like, hey, you should meet the girl I like. I'm like, all right, sweet. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I met her, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is cool. She's cool. She's cool. Started hanging out with us. Didn't like her.
Hmm?
Made some really bad decisions. I'm very, very grateful. I didn't like her at the time because I was not a good dude. Oh, I was terrible to women. Oh man, regret it, but whatever. And so years go by. She gets into some bad habits. We stop being friends. I get into bad habits. We become friends again, and then we stop being friends. And then I attend her youth with a different girl.
Oh.
Yeah. And we broke up, and then we went on a trip to Calgary. We this church we would go to, there would be like different churches all around. We would all just meet up in Calgary, and we would just have a game over there or something, kind of like YXH, just different church, and always in Calgary. So it'd be like once a year we do this. And so we went out there, and we just started talking nonstop. And it's just like, man, I really like this girl. Like, I really like this girl. But behind the scenes, I was talking to a different girl that she didn't know about. And I broke it off, and I'm like, all right, I like you. Or she told me she liked me first, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how that started.
Nice.
Yeah. Just years and years of friendship and bad decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have changed quite a bit over the past few years with your life.
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Where did that all begin? That you were making some bad choices. How did that happen?
It started when I got into the trades.
Yeah.
I got into building grain bins, and I went out to Ontario.
How old were you at the?
16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think I was 16. Yeah. No, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, I wasn't old enough. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I go to Ontario. My mom was like, yeah, go to Ontario. You need it. Like she knew like before this I had depression, right? And so I went out to Ontario. I found some happiness there. And then the guy I was working with, he's like, hey, you should smoke this with me. So I did. And then I'm like, well, this is fun.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Yeah. And that went on for about half a year.
Yeah. Yeah. So why did you decide? I mean, so it was mostly just you were depressed and you wanted to do something, and so you decided you were going to pursue a job full-time job at 16, or like what led to that?
Well, I mean, I started a full-time job at 14, 15.
Okay.
Yeah, I dropped out. Don't do that. Don't drop out. Very bad decision on my part.
Why did you decide to drop out?
Money. I wanted money. That's all I wanted. That's been the hardest thing to let go, is me not wanting money as much anymore.
Yeah.
So it's challenging.
Sorry, you're just a little hot on the mic. I'm just going to turn up your headphones for you.
Yeah, I was about to say I can see it over there, but I can't tell for sure. But I talk.
You're the middle one there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I can't hear me being loud. People are gonna be like, "Oh, stop screaming, Nick."
We'll try that.
Keep
Okay.
touching this loud thing.
So, yeah, I was just got into work, and then from there everything kind of went downhill. That's where my cousin introduced me to something else, and then I got to the job in Ontario, and then I got introduced to something else, and then stuck with those two things.
Yeah.
It's weird though. The only thing I never got into was alcohol.
Really?
Never got into alcohol, and that's for a big reason. My dad was an alcoholic. That's kind of where the whole testimony starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to share a bit about that, or where do you want to?
Where do I want to start off with my testimony?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start off when I felt called to the Lord, but I didn't really know what it was. I was like 10 years old, and I went to this church with my mom and dad, and it was very against everything from God. So, like,
the church was against?
Yeah.
Whoa.
But it's a church. It doesn't make sense, but it wasn't a satanic church. It was legit like, oh no, we love God. We just don't talk about him outside of church. That's
What?
wrong. That's a sin.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I know.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
you couldn't pray unless you were in your house. You couldn't pray. You could pray when you're eating at restaurants, but that's it. You couldn't pray with someone ever. You could pray for someone, but not like
With them.
Yeah, I can't do that. No.
Would it be okay if they were in your house?
No. Not
Do you
even
know
then.
why?
Yeah, what was the reasoning?
No
Weird.
reason.
Super bizarre.
I'm doing a deep dive on that church.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Just to clarify, we encourage you pray wherever you
please do.
want,
Yeah.
whenever you want, with whoever
Pray
you
for
want.
other people.
Yeah, we just talked about this last
Talk
night.
about God with your friends.
Praying for healing with anyone, everyone. So
yeah, no, don't be afraid of praying.
Yeah.
But I was. So, and the whole point of that church was they took the verse, I forget what verse it was, but it says, fear the Lord. They
Yeah.
took it too deep, and they legit were afraid. Like, you can fear God in a respectful way. Like, I
Yeah.
fear God because I respect him.
Yes.
But they were terrified. They were scared to get close to him because they all thought like, oh no, I'm going to die now.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And the preachers, they couldn't talk. They couldn't talk about Jesus, but God, of course, but not Jesus. Jesus wasn't real.
Oh,
In a way.
Whoa.
okay, wow.
It's the
Some
church.
major red flags.
I didn't know that, right? I grew up.
No. I'm not blaming you. I'm
I
just
know,
saying, just for
it's-
anyone listening, that
Yeah.
should, if you ever go to a church and you see things like
Leave.
this major red flags.
This is a Mennonite church, actually.
Oh, wow.
I could name the name.
Don't. It's okay.
I mean, I don't really care if they
You can
come
tell
after
us-
me.
you can tell us after.
It's
my
okay.
whole
Well,
family's
they might
in
come
that
after
church.
me too. So
My whole
And Alicia.
extended family is in that church.
Yeah.
And my family isn't. And
Yeah.
so everybody hates me. I'm an outcast. I got long hair. I got tattoos. Like, I'm doomed. I'm like, no, I'm living. You guys, the way you're living is doomful. But they all hate me. So I'm like, that's okay.
So you were attending this church. You started attending when you were 10.
Mm-hmm. And then I asked my parents, what's so wrong about other churches? Like, I see these big, beautiful Catholic churches. I want to go see them because I love beautiful buildings. And my mom and dad were like, no, that's a sin. We only go to this church. Any other church is a sin. They're going to hell. We're going to heaven.
Yeah.
Like, only this single church, like this
Wow.
this type of church was the only one going to heaven. I'm like, this isn't true. And that's when I felt like that's when God started pushing me towards Christianity. So then that's kind of where it started, and that's where everything went downhill. And then right around the time, I kind of got a brain, and I realized that my dad is an alcoholic, and he didn't truly love me. He loved me when he was drinking, but not when he was sober. He was always angry when he was sober. And that's where depression started, was when I realized, like, people don't love me. Like, I'm all by myself. Like, there's nothing good in this world. So it's just me and myself. That's it. And I'm going to make a bunch of money, and that's it. Just
Try and make yourself happy.
make myself happy with money, And so I fell in love with money, and that's how it started. I was 14. As soon as I got offered a job, I took it.
Yeah.
Oh, I ran and took it.
Yeah.
And so that's where it started. That's where I started going to work, right? And then right around the time I was 15,
Yeah.
just before my 16th birthday, or a year before my 16th birthday, my oldest brother gave his life to Christ, which was amazing. Due to his girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
she brought him to church, a different church.
Yeah.
And he immediately found love. And then my dad went to rehab right around the time. And this was in Mexico. So when your parents go to rehab, you also go to rehab.
Oh, really?
So it's like a rehab for kids. So all you gotta do is,
Interesting.
all you gotta do is chill there. It's literally like a camp, but for 3 months.
How was that?
Oh, it was great. Loved every moment of it. Yeah, I got to see what Jesus was like, but I disagreed with him because I was still very, very into that other church. Like I wanted to be a pastor for that church. Like it was whatever. That's okay. I found the Lord. But and then and then one day we go to this camp, gospel campfire is what it's called, and it's in Kincooley. It happens like every 3 years or every 2 years.
Like here in town?
Yeah, here in town.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard of this.
Not
Have you?
much.
Never.
Oh.
Not much people have heard of it. I know, it's crazy. I'm surprised, but it's like 15 people show up every time. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I
Who puts it on?
I forget his name.
Okay.
If I had my Bible here, I would know.
So just like someone from a church, like it's not a church in town that does it. It's just an individual that just
this is a church outside. Like it's in Manitoba, and then they like gave this guy a job where he goes around Canada and preaches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he would go to Mexico, and they did once.
Yeah.
But it ended terribly. They were getting shot at, so they were like,
my
"Yeah,
gosh.
let's not go there."
That's different.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound fun.
No, but I want to go to Mexico and preach the gospel. And I know I'm going to get shot at, but it's a place I want to do it.
Wear a bulletproof vest when you go.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Be my one request.
Yeah. We'll see. This is going to be later on
Okay,
in
so
life.
camp in Kincooley. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that's what it's called, a campfire. So you just attend every evening. And so my brother Josh was really encouraging my mom at the time, who was not a Christian. She was very depressed, very, very sad, very unhappy because her husband was drinking. He got better, but she just didn't know anymore. And so we went there, and that's where I got to know the Lord. He was preaching about John 3:16, and man, it just hit the heart. And I went home, I got home, and I was sobbing my eyes out. And this is like 11:50 on August 1st of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, and then...
You remember exactly when?
Yeah, no, 2021, sorry. 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember this exactly. And then I just started praying. I was like, God, I don't know who I am, where I am, and what's going on. I need you. I can't do this anymore. I want to end it right now. I don't know what to do. And so I just didn't know what to do. And then I was playing on my phone, and then I came across this Instagram reel where it's like the prayer of how to give your life to Jesus. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that right now. I want to know what this is.
Spiritual algorithm.
Yeah,
Goodness.
I loved it. Yeah. And so I was like, 12:30, August 2nd is my birthday. I gave my life to Jesus on my 16th birthday, which was, to me, is the coolest thing. Yeah. And so that morning I woke up and my mom was like, who is this kid? He's totally changed.
Wow.
Yeah,
She even noticed it.
Yeah, I was respectful. I was a very disrespectful kid to my mom. Oh, very disrespectful to my parents, everybody. I was lying through my teeth about everything. I'm a
Just
good
angry.
liar. Yeah. And then everything changed. One night, everything changed. And my mom was like, who is this kid? And
What did it feel? I was thinking about this, honestly, I was just thinking about this last night. So being born and raised in a Christian home, and then, inviting Jesus into your life at a young age. I'm grateful for that. I want to be clear.
Yeah.
Because I think it's been a blessing, but I also feel like I didn't see as drastic of a change as you would have in yourself.
Yeah.
Accepting him, going from this, church where they are not preaching the true gospel and you're, dealing with depression and you've got a bad relationship with your father, going from that to accepting Christ, that must have been a pretty big shift. What did that feel like in that moment when you invited in the Holy Spirit into your heart?
So
what was that like?
I'll give you an illustration that my dad told me, because he noticed I was getting into some sin. He was like, and my dad's a wise guy. He's very wise. He just hasn't given himself to the Lord yet. He says he has, and I trust that he has, but I don't know. I don't know for sure the way he is, but he is on some heavy medication for his antidepressant, and that could be messing with his head. So give him grace for that. But he is like, Nick, you're right now, the way you're living, you're like the devil would have, when you move hay, you have a fork. Yeah. Or I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, we'll call it a fork.
Like a pitchfork?
Yeah, a pitchfork. There you go. And then he says, I'm on the pitchfork, sliding down. And that's what I felt like. And then when I gave my life to Jesus, it felt like I just got removed. It felt like knives were taken out, and it felt so good.
Wow.
And I was just pure peace and pure joy. everything was just, time froze. Like
Wow.
it was the greatest feeling of my life for about 3 days.
Wow.
3 days. 3 days was amazing. After 3 days, everything went terribly. And I knew it because it's just like he gave me paradise, and then he brought me back to reality, which is I'm still in a broken home, and I have family members who aren't Christians, and there's only 3 of us at the time. My mom gave her life to Christ just before that, but she didn't. She can't read, she can't write, so she's never read the Bible. She never did before that, so she just kind of trusted whatever my dad said, and he said what the preachers were saying. So.
At this other church
This other church.
that Jesus was real.
Yeah, none of you guys will ever attend this church. This is a very different located church. Like you have to drive 45 minutes in the middle of nowhere, and it's there.
Yeah.
So you'll never find it. Luckily.
You'll never find it. Now, Josh is
They're
on a
for
mission
sure
to like
going to find it if you give them hints.
specifically your brother-in-law.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure Josh would hate
He'll
that
go
church.
nail the 95 Theses to their door.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Very good at tracking people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know who did that actually? Not to get sidetracked, but
What do you mean?
do you know who told Josh?
No, I don't.
I can tell you the full story.
Do you know who did?
Yeah.
Do you want to share it right now?
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care.
Immediate. Yes.
Yeah.
Sidetrack. Immediate.
So,
Okay,
pretty
well,
much-
we should give some context to those
Yeah.
who are
right,
listening
yes.
who have
You
no
explain.
idea what's going on. This came up in the fall. I don't know why. I said something like, you wouldn't be able to find out where I live, something like that. And Josh piped up, being Josh, being like, I could. Is that a bet? And I said, yeah, sure. I'll bet you $20 that you can't find out where I live.
That's funny.
And then it became an addiction.
And for the first few months,
obsession.
he was very intentional. There was a few nights where he drove himself to youth, and he tried following me home.
And then a bunch of us tried to help you and
Yeah.
blocked his car in.
He blocked
so
his
that
vehicle
he couldn't leave.
so I
Yeah.
could get away.
Nice.
And then, I'm to be clear, I'm not going to reveal where I live on the podcast, so don't
Yeah.
say anything.
I don't even know where you live.
But
I don't either, actually.
That's
yeah, you
hilarious.
do.
No, I don't. How would I know? Literally, how?
Anyways,
Yeah.
well, I don't want to say because then you would know.
Well, I've never been invited
People
over.
would know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't-
No
we're
one's
not.
ever been
We're not talking about it on the podcast.
Okay.
So yeah, he tried following me home, and then I don't know. It was just like a few weeks he drove himself, and
Yeah.
then, but for the most part, he drives home with Selena,
Yeah.
who
His
refuses to follow me home.
Yeah.
As someone wise would.
Yeah. No.
He would take pictures of my vehicle, specifically the license plate. Like I thought, I'm like, dude, you can't. We're not in the States where you like have access to PI software that can like look up
funny.
a plate. Like you don't have anyone that can do that for you. And all sorts of things he would do. And then one night we're at Young Adults, and Josh also was at Young Adults, even though he's in youth, which is fine. But Tia, who's into running, had asked me a question, which I'm not going to say on here either because it will reveal where I
Yeah,
live.
it will.
And
Yeah,
she asked
for
a
sure.
question.
It's like that specific.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the only one in town.
There's only one of this in town.
But like, doesn't it have multiple sides?
I'm not going to say it online.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, she said that. She asked a question about something specific and to do with running. And I said, and then Josh heard what she said. And he's like, oh, you live near that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, what was it? Yeah, so he figured out what part of town I was in. So he forgot about it after that. Then it was like February. It'd
You had
been
like a peaceful
month
Christmas
or two.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, quiet, unbothered. Been a month or two. And then one night at youth, he brings it up again. He's like, "Hey, is that still on? Is that bet still on?" Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Like, you
Yeah.
haven't done anything the past few months. Like, I'm not
You
worried
haven't
about
felt
it."
threatened.
No.
Feel safe at night.
That's
So
funny. That's hilarious.
He then convinced Selena to drive around Crescent Heights. Apparently, he knew which street to check, which I didn't know that. But I'd left youth. I'd went to fill up with gas.
Yeah.
And then so they had beat me to the area of town where I live.
Yeah.
And then I got there, and as they're leaving, like driving to leave that area, I am driving home and they drive past me and Josh is like, turn around.
Yeah.
And then they find me. So yeah, apparently I found out later on that someone actually gave him the street.
The funny thing is, no one actually told him.
Yeah.
No,
Really?
He just got it right. He just got it so happily right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So
he
no
was-
one told him the street. So we've been
This is
arguing
kind
over
of what I was
nothing.
figuring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Selena told me, right? I'm not sure if Josh is hiding something from her too.
Yeah.
But like apparently
I think he just wants this to keep going or something and wants me to be paranoid.
Yeah. I think he was just driving up and down the streets with Selena. Like he begged her,
Yeah.
please just do this for me.
Yeah.
And so
What
they're
a good
driving
sister.
and they're driving. And
Yeah.
then literally, yeah, like you said, they're about to leave. So they pull
Anytime
off.
I bring that up, I'm like, well, why did you? She's like, well, you're the one who made the bet. I'm
That's
like,
true. That is
You're
true.
also the one who drove.
Did you give him the
with
$20?
though. I did. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
been paid. Yeah.
Yeah. But literally, there was no one that told them. They just got
Yeah.
so lucky. And I told
Yeah.
Josh exactly what to do next time if ever something happened like this. Leave early. Leave youth early. Go to the Catholic church and stop there and wait. And as soon as you pull off, go a couple cars behind.
Coaching him
behind
how
you.
to hunt someone.
Yeah, I used to do this with my
Yeah.
friends all the time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, if I knew about that bet, I would
I
have
was
made
a
it too.
stalker once.
Yeah, no, I was.
Here's
I
the
was.
skills that I learned.
I don't even. The thing is, I didn't even know this bet was going on.
Yeah.
I had no idea, and apparently it was for like what 6 months. The bet was on.
Yeah.
Not a clue in my head.
September, October.
I just feel
November,
like
December,
a
January,
phone book
February.
would have been the easiest solution.
No, we checked. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Really? How?
Wasn't listed.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
clever.
I had another idea of the way of finding you where you live because I work with your dad sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll just ask him. Just like, hey, I have a bet with your son and I really want to win.
Yeah.
I'll give you
Or
half.
a
I'll give
true
you half it."
stalker or something like, hey, I want to mail you an invite to my wedding. What's your address?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Never see it coming.
I mean, I feel like he would be less weirded out by an invite to a wedding than
True.
than being like, hey,
Where
I
do
have
you
a bet
live?
with your son. Tell me where you live.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then he has to face, should I betray my son?
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
versus would I like to be invited to a wedding? Is Peabod coming to your wedding?
I have no idea. I
No,
highly doubt it.
he says in the video he's busy in May. It's
Yeah.
not a good time.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, you guys were just so excited.
Oh,
Shit, Amanda was more excited. I was more just ready to go.
Yeah.
I was tired.
it's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said I said something in a clip like because I have it on video and he's
Yeah.
like May's not a good time for me. He's like, but he said this is the first invite he's been hand delivered.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Which is
You're the
Pretty
first
big
one to hand
flex.
deliver him.
Did you
Yeah.
hear his new release?
Yeah, yeah,
no.
He's
I
doing
don't.
a song for an anime now.
yeah.
Oh, I don't like Peabod.
You don't?
I don't like his music. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, this is over.
Sorry,
I-
Isaac.
I just got it. I just got into Christian worship music, listening to it on the radio,
Yeah.
or on the way home, because
Yeah.
I'm used to heavy metal. Like you guys know Nickelback, right? That's
You-
what I grew up on. Nickelback.
You like? Oh no!
Yeah, I grew up on Nickelback.
Nick.
So sad
Pull
for
back.
you.
I don't know if I'd consider that heavy metal though.
It's not that heavy metal, but I got into heavy metal.
That's heavy. That's like more sort of heavy
Do you
rock
still like
Yeah.
heavy metal? Because
Oh, I love
Tyler
it.
could probably give you 8 million suggestions.
of Christian heavy metal.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I did love heavy metal for a long time, and then I just stopped. I just stopped out of the blue, and I'm like, you know what? I like jazz today.
Oh wow!
So I got into jazz.
That's
Wow.
a wild change.
I know.
Actually, no. I think Tyler would make the argument that they're very similar because of the complexity in
Musical
chords played.
skills, something mathematical.
Something, yeah.
They're-
I don't know.
they're-
Tyler, you can correct me if I'm wrong. but-
Yeah, they're definitely very similar,
Yeah.
but it's just like one's like da 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 da, one's like da da da.
Yeah.
I saw a video this
So,
last week
one's
called
peaceful.
"Will It Emo."
Yeah.
Will it emo?
Yeah, so they took like Pharrell. What is his name? Something Pharrell. What is his name?
My bad.
The guy who
Williams?
sings "Happy."
Williams?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was like "Will It Emo," and so he actually turned to that song into an emo song. It was very funny.
Because I'm happy.
People are
I
creative.
have a bunch of alarms on. I have for work. I'd have to turn them all off.
Sorry, we got sidetracked with
Yes,
the whole
oh my
Josh
goodness,
stalking
yeah,
me.
wow.
What were we discussing right before that?
Your testimony coming
Yeah.
to Jesus.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all I remember. But where I was in the story, I don't quite remember.
You're changed. Oh yeah, you were saying how
Yeah.
you were changed and
Yeah, changed.
Oh,
and
good.
knives were being
good job.
removed.
Yes.
Yeah, for like 3 days.
Yeah.
For 3 days, I was.
So then
at
what
pure
happened
peace.
after?
3
Because you
days.
realized you're in a broken home.
Yeah.
Your
And-
mom was a Christian, but she can't read.
Yeah, and that's it. I stopped.
You stopped
after 3 days. Yeah.
Like you stopped pursuing Christ, or what do you mean you stopped?
I kind of did stop. I slowed down. So what I started to do was like, hey, I need to get back into this. So I started reading, started praying. I went to a different church with my brother, and that's where I started to know the Lord more. And then after 3 months, I forget what happened. But everything just, actually I do remember what happened. I just won't explain it. But pretty much I started dating a girl and everything changed.
Yeah.
And I stopped. I just like, no more reading, no more praying. And then it was like that for like, I want to say like 2 months. And I got back into it. And then
back into
Christianity, pursuing my faith, I should say.
Yeah.
I got back in pursuing my faith. And then, I attended youth at this different church. I met a lot of friends.
So what grade are you in at this point?
I dropped
like
out.
how old?
Oh, right.
I dropped out years ago. I was like 16, 17. Just before 17.
Okay.
Just before 17.
Yeah.
And then I was going to start attending youth, but it ended because it was in the middle of like right to summer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So breaking.
Yep. And then I started hanging out with this different friend group all of a sudden, and they weren't Christians either. So
how are you meeting these people? Like
friends, school, old friends from school.
Old friends from school. Okay.
Yeah. My best friend was in school still, and then we didn't hang out outside of school. I didn't really hang out at all around the time. I just decided to hide in my little cave, which I called my Bat Cave because I loved Batman at the time. So I was just like, I'm just in my Bat Cave. I'm just going to stay away from the world. Just gone. And then so I started hanging out.
This is your room, I'm assuming.
My downstairs, yeah.
Your downstairs, okay.
Yeah. I wouldn't leave. I left for work and I came back and ate and that's it.
Wow.
That was my life for like 4 months. I loved it. So much fun. I learned a lot. And then after that, I went back to the youth.
Like, what do you mean you learned a lot?
I learned a lot about who I am.
Okay.
Like what the things I like, the things I don't, and realized that I'm a good liar and things that I shouldn't be doing. Like I just learned a lot about myself. And so I was just like, yeah, this all needs to change. Like I need to change. And then I went back to youth and the youth leaders explained some things. And then I stopped going to youth for some reason. I forget why. And then in the middle of all this, my brother said something to me. I forget what exactly. And from there, I was just so close to just giving up everything. Like I was like, I'm done with Jesus. Like he's not helping me. I'm done. Like I don't care anymore. This is pathetic. Like I don't know where people get this. Like yeah, it was fun it was peaceful for 3 days. That's it. The rest of this has just been trials over trials over trials. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give God one more day. One more day. And if it doesn't turn out, I'm dropping my faith. And then I'm gonna go pursue what I want to pursue.
Yeah.
What my fleshly desires were. And then my mom was like, hey Nick, you know I love you and God has a good plan for you. I just hope that you stay in him. And I'm just like, I didn't explain that to my mom. I was like, you don't know anything. I'm like, what?
Yeah. You're like a little bit frustrated. Like, why are you saying that all of a sudden?
I did literally those words exactly in the same attitude. And my mom's like, hey, calm down. I'm just saying, okay. And then I was like, okay, Lord, like my mom's speaking to me like she's never spoke to me before. There's definitely something here. So yeah, I took a deep dive into it and then it's just been
into your faith.
Yeah, in my faith. I took a deep dive in my faith and figured that I'm nobody.
Yeah.
I'm just a nobody. And that's who I prefer. I'm just a nobody and that's who I like. And I like being nobody. Like people are like, well, I don't know a lot about a lot of people tell me, I don't know a lot about myself. I'm like, don't. Go to Jesus. Doesn't matter who you are. As soon as you give everything to Jesus, your whole life changes. And that's the easiest thing to do. So like my dad told me the best time to change is at rock bottom because that's when you don't know anything anymore. No matter how old you are, how long you've lived life, when you hit rock bottom, just go to Jesus, and then you'll know, and then you know what to do. And that's pretty much where I was. I thought I hit rock bottom, not yet. Yeah, and then so this is probably like 6 months past.
Yeah,
and this was in August when I started going to youth, and then 6 months after, I get offered a job in Ontario.
Yeah,
and I'm pursuing my faith.
Yeah.
And then I go there, I get in some really, really, really bad things, really stupid things. And I don't recommend doing anything dumb, especially kids and if you're a Christian. But if you are doing something dumb that you shouldn't be doing, come to us. We like to talk, especially me, a little too much. But yeah, like that's something that I'm currently trying to explain to kids and everybody. Like, come to me, man. Like, I'm always here. Like, I love you. I don't care who you are. It's like, oh, you don't know me. How do you love me? Because I just love you, man. Like, you're cool. And it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Teenagers.
That's such a joy.
Yeah.
Oh, I love them. I love them. They're so difficult. That's why I love them. They're a challenge. And so after this, I come home after Ontario and I did some bad things. I come home and I got offered another same exact job, different company, just in Saskatchewan, and I'm still doing some bad habits.
Yeah.
And I told my mom because I just couldn't do it anymore. I just told my mom, I'm like, Mom and Dad, I want to quit my job. And they're like, why? I thought you liked it. I'm like, I love the work, but I don't like what I'm doing. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, Mom, I'm doing these things. And man, she broke down. She just started crying and crying and crying. And I'm just like, nothing's ever hurt me more in my life. Seeing my mom so disappointed in me. And I'm like, oh, I got to change. I really, really got to change. So then, okay, who did I go to then? Shoot. This is so much. Like, it's been years that's over top piling. Just like pursuing, not pursuing.
I appreciate someone so young is having this kind of a moment. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, what happened next? Is this because I'm aging? Or is this just because it's life?
Yeah.
It's just life for me. I tell people I'm an old soul. So, but right around the time my brother Josh, he kind of matured in his faith. And so then I went to him and I asked him to be my mentor. And he was like, I can't do that yet. I'm like, why is that? He's like, well, I don't know enough about Christ to mentor you yet. I'm like, okay, that's fair. But he's like, but do you have any advice for me? He's like, yeah, read the gospel. I'm like, oh, what's that? He's like, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So I'm like, all right, sweet. I'll start Matthew. Started reading Matthew. And then...
You even read all of chapter 1?
Yeah, I did. I actually read 22 chapters in a day.
It's hard to get through that first chapter of Matthew.
That's fair.
All the names. You had a great sermon on that one time.
I know, because I actually really like it. Yeah.
But I mean, like when you're young or when you're new to your faith, you're like, all of these names. What's the point? But there's a point.
I'm gonna confess my sins. Half the time I read Matthew, I skip over the names.
Yeah, that's I mean, I feel like you only have to do it a couple times to really get the gist that God had a plan through it all. And
I go back just to challenge my brain because I can't say the names. I can't say their names for the life of me.
That's when you do the audio Bible on like the Bible.
So someone else can say it.
Oh, that's how you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, the other day I was reading and I was like, I don't know how.
It's kind of like the way you say.
Oh, Massachusetts. Personal
redemption.
Growth. I learned a thing.
Well done.
Yes.
I can't say that either. There's another word that I can't say for the life of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I won't say what word because it's embarrassing.
Turn it into
but
a
if
reel.
If you really want to know, ask Amanda.
What's the one I can't say is it's like the sauce, the Worcestershire.
Oh yeah, Worcestershire.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
No one can say that though, can they?
Usually only women can.
How did you say it?
I don't know.
Worcestershire sauce?
You say it again. You said it right.
Well, now I'm afraid to say it again because I'm going to say it wrong.
Right.
Worcestershire?
I think that's the right way to say it.
That's probably the most right I've ever heard.
Cool. It's that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't
say it.
But
for real, when you read the Bible, I feel like, do you ever notice oh, Nicholas, will you read this passage? And you're like, yes, I'll read it. And then that's the one full of names. Or like there's almost, I learned in Bible college, if you can say it with confidence, people are like, oh, that's how that, you don't know. You don't have to know.
Yeah,
just have to say it confidently.
I don't have a lot
you still
of
like if you don't know how to say it, my brain's like, well, how should I say it? I can't even improvise a way to say it.
Yeah,
you need to be able to say it on the spot and sound confident at the same time.
You can do it.
Tough.
Yeah, when I'm trying to talk about somebody like at Sunday school, these grade 3-4 boys are just like, that's not his name. Like, this is how you say it. I'm like, what? I just got humbled.
That's really helpful, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Like, actually, we're saying it this way now, so don't worry about it.
They tell me, gone. Yeah.
So you read the Gospels.
Oh, yeah.
Even chapter 1.
Good job.
Yeah,
bringing us
even
back.
chapter 1. Ugh. And so, oh, man, I loved it. So I read Ephesians, and then I read Romans. And then
love Romans.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to read the whole Bible. I got to Genesis 1, and I'm like, this is garbage. I'm going back to Matthew.
I love Genesis.
Hey, to be fair.
Just wait till you get to like Leviticus and
I
Numbers.
love
It's really
Leviticus and Numbers.
I know they're great,
really
but
good.
it's really hard to.
When you're like a new pursuing Christian, Genesis is just like.
Well, no, Genesis is still great.
Genesis
it is.
is
It's all
great.
stories.
Yeah.
Like I'm going back now to read it, but like, like I knew about how the world was made, right? Like the whole Old Testament, I pretty much knew every story ever. So I'm like, I don't need this. And then my brother was like, no, you need the Old Testament.
There's some odd stories in there that I didn't hear about when I was in like Sunday school or anything. You like go and read it as an adult and you're like, wait, what is this? What happened?
One of my favorites
What?
is the last book of Judges. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I've actually never read Judges.
Okay, so like the very last chapter in Judges, they have like the Benjamites, but I don't know, how do I make a very long story short? The Benjamites had sinned.
Yeah.
And so they were no longer, like they were one of the tribes, and they were no longer allowed to marry their sons off to other tribes.
Oh, yeah.
But then we've got like this dying population, so they needed wives. And so they're like, how can we not break this rule of not giving our like daughters to be wives to the Benjamites, but still allow their tribe to survive?
Yeah.
And so they created this system where they were like, we're going to host a dance, and all these girls that are single are going to be over here dancing, and you Benjamites go hide in the bushes.
Oh, boy.
And when the girls come out and dance, go get a wife and take her. Because if they were stolen from in the bushes, then they weren't breaking the rule of giving their daughters to the Benjamites, but they still provided
So they're
wives.
like, they're going to go dance here and don't take them. But if you do, we won't be that mad.
Yeah, legitimately. Yeah, it was planned.
That's
But
crazy.
technically, they didn't break the rules. So there's men hiding in bushes, stealing dancing wives, dancing women to be wives.
And how did the Lord feel about that?
I'm assuming fine. Tribe survived.
He was like, oh, pretty clever. Didn't think of that.
Just so you know, anyone single, that's not how to get a wife.
No, this is not.
Yeah, you won't.
Don't do this now.
For legal reasons, we recommend you never do that.
You can scare them. That might get them there, but I highly doubt it.
No, don't
Bad
do
idea.
that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
So you tried reading Genesis, didn't work
No, it
for
didn't
you
work.
at the time.
So then I was like, whatever. I'm going to go back to Romans and Ephesians.
But you know, the New Testament's a great place to start when you're new to your faith.
Yeah, no,
So I don't blame you.
recommend it.
Yeah.
I recommend it to all. But, and then I,
Especially if you're new to just reading scripture in general.
yeah. So now I've
Don't
been like,
start at Revelation.
I'm going to make a full out confession. I have not read it yet.
It would just be a really
it's
bad place to
very
start.
hard. I mean, we're going to do the adult study after we're done
Yeah,
this
I hope
study.
so. But if not, like I still want to read it.
Yeah.
Because like my brother John, like I was growing up as don't read it. It's scary. Your brain's gonna explode almost.
I mean, you can read it. It's just going to be very confusing. So it'd be good
there's
to
just a
have
lot
some
of
sort of like
symbolism, and so if you don't
some
understand,
footnotes or some sort of companion.
Yeah.
But
reading to
everybody
go along
thinks
with it.
if you read it, it's some kind of secret unlocking to the end times, or like how you're like going to get raptured, or it's actually surprisingly.
Wait, all I have to do that is get raptured, is read Revelation,
Yeah.
and I'll disappear.
I will.
That's what they're saying.
Well, yeah, or they think that like what was that series that came out with like 1,000 books
Left
about
Behind?
the Left Behind series? I think people
I-
genuinely think that like if you read Revelation, you'll like it's like goes hand in hand, but these are very separate things.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
strong fiction
Yeah,
versus anyway, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Continue.
Where was I at again?
you're reading. You're
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
You're just reading.
Yeah, I'm
a lot
just
of reading.
just into reading so much reading.
It
And
impacted you.
yeah,
You went back from Genesis to somewhere else in the New Testament.
Yeah, I'm just reading all of the New Testament, just back and forth, back and forth, back and
All
forth.
these letters.
And this is now it's been a couple of years, so it's like I'm good at my reading. I'm praying. I mean, some weeks I'm not so good, so it's pretty steady.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I started dating Amanda,
Yeah.
and then she wasn't a Christian at the time,
Yeah.
which was a bad idea of me. I was.
You guys met at so I guess you said how you met, but she talks about the one time where you like met at a party or something. Is that her?
Park.
A
Yeah.
park.
Oh.
Yeah. No, if you want to know her testimony, ask her. Like that is literally a part of her testimony. That's how she met me.
Yeah.
But pretty much, yeah, we met at, that's where she said, but I don't remember it because I just moved to town.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so then me and Amanda, we started dating, and she's not a Christian yet. And so I'm like, I took it in as, okay, I'm a Christian. I can lead her to Christ. It's
Missionary dating.
yeah, there you go. It's
Strongly suggest against that.
Yeah, don't do it. I forget where I heard this, but someone said, as a Christian, you're on a ladder, and you get up like 2 steps.
Yeah.
And then if you're trying to date someone that's not a Christian, and you're going to try to lift them up, right? It's a lot harder to lift somebody up, and then
Way easier to be pulled down.
yeah. So she pulled me down, which I don't blame her for. She wasn't a Christian. She didn't know what she was doing, but I let her. I fully let her. Like I
Yeah.
didn't even try to stop, you know? And so I got pulled down, and then me and her were very similar. Like I knew God, I knew who he was my savior. But Amanda was like, yeah, sure.
Just adds up. I feel like you're gonna get punched for saying she pulled you down. Just
No, she knows.
It's coming.
She knows. She knows. I've explained this to her. She said like I've explained it differently once, and the way I explained it was I made her sound like Satan.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Which
no.
is bad on me because I'm not good at my wording. I'm terrible at it, actually. So I was like, oh, I'm so
Yikes.
sorry. I felt so bad. Oh, I turned so red. I was like a tomato.
That's what every girlfriend wants to hear.
Yeah.
We
She
like
remind me of
Amanda.
Satan.
we love Amanda.
We like Amanda. Yeah, she's
she
great. Yeah,
She knew though.
Yeah.
She knew like I was trying to explain it differently.
Yeah.
She knows me, right?
But she's like, hey, you shouldn't say it that way
She's
anymore.
like, yeah, she's like, you just made me sound like I'm Satan. I'm like, oh.
And you immediately knew what she meant.
Yeah, I'm like, oh boy.
Oh.
And this was
I see
actually
what you're saying.
when I first met Ben and Eli. I explained it that way. And I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that. But
And they're like, wow, she
That's-
sounds great.
yeah. So after this, we've been dating for like 8 months.
Yeah.
And my dad's back in rehab in Mexico.
Josh made that. Sorry, Josh. What am I saying, Josh? Nicholas made that sound with his mouth
Well,
for people who are
Oh
listening.
yeah, if you're not watching and you just heard a fart sound, that
Sounded
was
really
sorry.
bad. Why did I call
that
you
was
Josh?
Nicholas's
Nicholas was making
mouth.
mouth sounds.
I
there.
do that. I do
Yeah.
that.
That was
I don't notice
not a
it.
real fart.
My boss tells me I have Tourette's.
No, it's fine.
Please continue.
So pretty much 8 months, my dad's back in rehab, and my family.
Do you go with him this time?
No.
Okay.
No, my whole family stays, which
Yeah.
I think we all should have went. I didn't have to because I was 18 at the time, so I could have stayed, which I was fine with. But my mom and my younger brothers definitely should have. But pretty much, so my dad's there for 3 months again, and it gets to his 2 months and a half mark, and I go out there because Amanda's dad's like, I want you to see your dad. Like, I know how much you love him and how much you miss him. So I go out there, I see my dad with Amanda, and her brother Travis, and this is the greatest thing ever. We got signed up for a camp in Mexico. It's called Huapaca, and it was amazing. It's kind of like Whispering Pines, but way further in the mountains, way further in the mountains. It takes 3 hours to get there, and you need to drive 2 hours out to get any cell service.
Wow.
Yeah, but they have Wi-Fi there only for the leaders, which makes sense. Makes sense. Kind of sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go there, and that's where Amanda gives her life to Jesus, and that was amazing. Oh, I loved it, and I started crying, like I was tearing up, and I'm like I felt restored in life. I was like, God's like, hey, you can pursue me again now.
Yeah.
And so I did, and then it was a little hard at first doing it again, and then just literally as I started going to youth, everything picked up because I was with actual people.
Sorry, to our youth. What
Your
youth are you talking about?
This youth. Sorry.
Yeah, I remember. I
became a
wanted
youth
to bring
leader.
up this one. So, my family and I, we go to station pretty much every Saturday, every weekend. And this one Saturday, we go to station. We see Pastor Cindy meeting with a couple people, and we kind of wave at her and these people, and then we go and sit down. And then, 5 or 10 minutes into our coffee with the family, Cindy comes over and she's like, "Hey, I want you to meet someone. Can you come here?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure." I'm like, "Well, it's Saturday. I can't. I'm off the clock right now." So, no, yeah,
That's
sure.
how ministry
Yeah,
works.
right. Yeah. Sorry. Can we do this on Monday? No,
I don't have time.
I was like, "Yeah, no, I'll come over." And Cindy introduced me to Nick and Amanda. And,
Oh, yeah.
And we just chatted for a little bit, and Nick was like, "Hey, I really, really want to get." And no one has ever said this to me. I don't know about you, but no one's ever said it to me when about getting involved. That they really, really, really want to, as passionately as Nicholas here.
Oh yeah, I
was.
love the youth.
So he was like, "I really want." I'm like, and we needed guy leaders at the time, and I was like, "Awesome, yes, absolutely."
It's funny. I would almost be like, "This feels threatening. Why?
Yeah,
Why do you want to do
why
this?
do you want to be leader
I haven't
so much?"
begged yet."
Yeah.
No, I was the bone begging this time.
And Amanda was like, "Yeah, I want to help too." And I was like, "Okay." And then later on, Cindy was like, said that I forget how it went. She had been speaking with you guys about getting involved at the church.
Yeah.
And she really wanted, or she really needed leaders for children's ministry. But she said something to the effect of, she prayed about it first because she saw that you guys were also interested in being
Right.
helping with youth.
Yeah.
And so she actually was like, if they need to be there, I'm not going to be selfish. And I go, let them serve where they want to serve.
Yeah.
And I guess then that Saturday I just happened to walk by and she's like,
Yep.
okay, this is
A sign.
Yeah, perfect timing, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Because literally after I became a Christian,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, I want to be a youth leader or a youth counselor.
yeah.
Because when I became a Christian, I had nobody, right? It was just me.
Yeah.
And there was no one trying to help me. There was no leadership for me. And my dad had the home. He went to church. We'll say he went to church.
Yeah.
And that's what got me interested in youth, right? I was like, man, I'm alone. No one's here to help me. So if I can just be somebody's help, I've done my part.
Yeah.
I've done my part. And that's where I got interested in Young Life. Listen to Johnny's podcast, and he explains it just the way how I felt. I felt completely alone,
Yeah.
and just people need help. And that's what I felt. So I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
So now I'm pursuing Young Life.
When you were baptized, can you remind me of the name of the man who was in the tank with you?
Mel.
Mel. So how did Mel come into your life?
This is actually the craziest thing ever, and it bothered me for years. I just went to a church where they preached in English. I grew up preaching in German, and so this guy, this really old dude, just turns around. He's just like, God has a plan for you. You're going to be great one day.
Here at Hillcrest?
No, this was at a different church. The church I used to go to. He just
Yeah.
turned around. He was
Yeah.
straight serious. He was like, God has a plan for you. I was like,
Just out of nowhere.
who's this dude?
Yeah.
Am I getting pranked? Where's the camera? I was like,
Funny
this is, I was scared. I was just like, he's old. I'm going to respect him.
Yeah.
So, and that's how it started. And then every Sunday we talked, and I got his number, and then we started hanging out outside of the church. And then, the church kind of split up, sadly. And then he found out that we were coming
This was
here.
not at the church.
The bad church.
The bad
No,
church
no,
with,
Okay, good clarification.
Clarification.
Gospel Light Fellowship. That's what it was called.
Okay, yeah.
That church.
This was in Redcliffe, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this church split apart, which sadly, but
Yeah.
I understood why. The pastor he kind of did everything on his own.
Yeah.
He was doing the youth, the children's ministry. Him and his wife were doing it all themselves.
Yeah, and that's hard to carry all of that on your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wasn't a Christian, so I didn't
Yeah.
care about helping. But now looking back, I totally would have.
Yeah.
But whatever. But I think it's for the better, to be honest, because he's a lot happier now. He's a lot more, he's a lot less
He's freed
tired.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now he preaches.
I hope he's doing well.
No, he's doing great.
That's good.
Yeah, he still preaches just at a different church
good.
outside of town.
That's good.
Yeah. So anyway, so then Amanda's like, well, we can come here.
Yeah.
Hillcrest, that's where my parents go. I'm
Yeah.
like, the name sounds funny. Sure, we'll go.
There's no hills over
Do
here.
you know why we're called Hillcrest?
No.
So, do you know where Swirls is?
Yeah.
So, and the part source. Mm-hmm. So across from that kitty corner where there's that kind of strip mall, that brick building.
Oh, yeah?
On a hill.
Oh.
That's where Hillcrest initially was. It was an old fire hall.
Cool.
That was built in the 30s or 40s. They never actually used it. I don't know what happened there. The fire hall was never used as a fire hall. But then it was rented out for other reasons and purposes, and it was actually became a college, Hillcrest Bible Institute. Something
Sweet.
like that.
My grandparents were founding members of the church.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
In the fire hall.
So then they started having church services. Which came first, the school or the services? I think it was the school first, right?
No, it was the services.
Yeah.
Okay. But the big draw was it was one of, I think, the only or one of the only, or I don't know if it was the only churches in town that actually had English speaking services.
Yeah.
Because all the services, even our friends at River Valley, when it was River Park and Christ the King, they were both, Christ the King was German speaking there.
Yeah.
A lot of other churches in town that have been around for a long time, their services at the time were German speaking only. And so people would come here, their kids were learning English, and so we want our kids to be able to go to a church that they preach in English. So Hillcrest was one of the first churches to offer that. So
that's sweet.
It had a pretty significant growth from that.
But now we are nowhere near a hill.
Yeah, no, we're in the
So we're not on
hillless
the crest of
area.
a
So
hill.
Probably in the
It's
flattest
true.
part of all of Medicine Hat.
yeah. Well, and then we were on the hill. It's a daycare now, but it's by it's on 9th
The link
Street,
used to meet there.
3rd Ave.
Kind of by Head High.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was our first like purpose built building.
Oh, sweet.
And then they built this in the 80s. So.
Are we ready to ask for an embarrassing moment?
Oh yeah, we should.
And we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do
you have more to share?
No, I mean, other than the fact that
You started coming to Hillcrest and
I started coming to Hillcrest. I got involved in the youth, and then I started being around actual Christians, and then that filled me up. And then I've just been pursuing God, and now I have a lot of things I plan on doing in the next 10 years in Medicine Hat that I won't share on the podcast. I'll share with you guys, but on the podcast, this is hopefully
you're gonna have to stick around if you want to see what happens with Nick's life.
2020.
Nicholas.
Oh,
dude,
I did it. Sorry, I'm gonna take 2.
No.
So you gotta stick around in Medicine Hat if you.
So, and I hope in the summer of 2026, this is when I want to start this. I won't tell you what, or I won't tell the podcast what.
But you want to start something.
I want to start something.
Okay.
I'm super excited.
Cool.
Super
A
stoked.
fight? You want to start a fight with someone? Or?
Yes.
Does
the
Amanda
devil.
know about
Yeah,
this?
she does.
Okay.
She wants me to pursue it.
Okay.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Nick, I appreciate. I think you've just been a really honest person, and you're very open about your faith.
Thank you.
And,
You're an excellent youth leader too. I
have a
think
lot of
our
wisdom.
kids really look up to you, and I
Thanks.
think you come from a very real place, and you're very
Yeah.
approachable, and that's been great.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to the kids. I'm gonna be honest. I
Yeah.
came from a terrible place, but
Yeah.
hey, I came to the Lord.
And I think that
So-
vulnerability. We talked about this in episode 2 with Denver Knottle.
Yeah.
That
was a good
vulnerability
episode.
really helps build community. We just talked about this last night in our meeting, but some people would think that that's a sign of weakness, but it
Yeah.
actually isn't. People trust, and that builds trust, and that
Yeah,
builds
exactly.
community.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, no,
Now share something embarrassing about yourself.
Okay, so
Yay.
this is when I was still in school, and I was like,
Not like trade school.
no,
Like
this is when I
school.
was in like
Okay.
actual middle school. This started in middle school.
Yeah.
So I liked this girl, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show off.
Yeah.
So I could jump really high for my age. I could run really fast for my age, and I jumped over a trash can with a screw out of it a little bit and hooked onto my pants. Yeah. Nice tear right between the bottom of my knee all the way up to the top of my belt, like 2 inches down from my belt.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then I was like, this is
Did
embarrassing.
you
but
get hurt?
No, I was
at all?
fine.
Just your jeans. Okay.
Just embarrassed.
I got hurt later on.
Your pride got hurt.
Yeah, my pride.
She
was
wasn't
actually, no, it
impressed.
wasn't. Actually, she was. No, my pride was not hurt.
Oh,
no,
wow.
I took it
should
up.
have been.
My pride actually got lifted because I was like, I'm gonna take this and just be like, oh yeah, I meant to do that.
Yeah. I meant to tear my jeans open.
As a joke. And then I was like, hey, like this is weird. I can't walk around school. This is middle school. This is weird. Like there's elementary school kids there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, gave my buddy a stapler. I'm like, you know what to do. Do it to my pants, like clip them together. Like we're gonna sew with staples.
No! Did you staple your leg? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm so sorry I said that out loud. I ruined it. I'm still horrified.
I'm gonna say this. I had 13 staples.
You let him keep stapling your skin?
No, I didn't notice it. I didn't feel it. My legs have a high pain tolerance.
What?
Yeah. So,
this-
he gave me 13 staples. 13 staples I counted. 3 of them were in my pants. The rest of them were all in my legs. Yeah.
Do you still have scars?
No, they were like small, little staples. And so I get home. I'm just, about to go shower.
Goodness.
Why are my pants not coming off? This is weird.
Oh my God.
I'm like, Mom, come help me. And she's like, I don't know what to do. So I told my brother Johnny, like, rip these pants off. He's like, sweet. Rips them off. And I just feel a bunch of staples rip out. And I'm like,
no!
oh yeah, a lot of fun. So much pain. And I was like, you know what? I'm never going to let someone staple my pants together ever again.
That's
specifically
I'm
one
That's
guy.
good advice.
I'm glad you learned your lesson there. Yeah.
I didn't.
If we've learned anything today,
Don't staple
don't
your
let
pants.
people staple your pants to your skin.
Duct tape might have been a better idea.
I have another story.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
There's more to this.
Okay.
Oh no.
So, okay, I'm like, yeah, I'm done jumping over trash cans for a little bit. A year after,
For a little bit.
for a year, I jumped over another one. Same thing.
The exact same thing happened.
Exact same thing happened.
Was it
and
the
not
same
so-
trash can?
Yes, but not so high. This time it was from
Feels like a lesson we could have learned earlier.
right. But this time I was like, I learned last time. No staples.
So you had a
Duct
second
tape.
pair of pants. Oh, okay.
Duct tape.
Did that also end badly?
Oh, did it
How?
give you a rash?
No.
Okay.
It's stuck to your skin.
Yeah, I was being waxed. Yeah, I was just like, let's just
That seems less
painful.
bad, though.
Yeah, but then
It's just hair. It'll grow back.
the worst thing is like it's just like I should have been smarter. No, third time. Happens a third time. I
Jump
did it.
over the same trash can?
No, this was actually the
Oh,
day I gave
I was
my
like,
the day before
seriously?
I gave my life to Jesus. I jumped over the trash can at the place where he was preaching to be cool.
Yeah.
Same thing happened. I just threw, but I
The Lord
learned.
was
Why
like,
did you keep doing
humble
this?
yourself and
Yeah.
carry your cross
Right?
and follow me.
I don't know. I just wanted to be
Get
cool.
decent
So,
budget for jeans.
but I actually started bringing extra pair of
He
jeans
actually
everywhere.
ripped the duct tape.
How is that the solution?
What? Oh, it
I
wasn't.
won't stop jumping. I'll just bring more jeans.
I mean, it's not like it's not going to work, you know.
I mean, yeah, that's what I did. I'm like,
There's worse
hey,
things
I'm
you
gonna
can
retire
fight for.
jumping over trash cans.
Retire.
Yeah, so it's been 4 years since I've jumped over a trash can.
My trash.
should we celebrate that like a
Yeah.
sobriety?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
in
that's
4
the
years?
sobriety we want to celebrate. Not all the other bad
Since
habits.
he's jumped over a garbage can and ripped his
my
pants.
gosh.
I've thought about going back to
job.
those exact trash cans and trying it again.
If you do, let
Let
me
us
know
know.
because I want to be there to witness it.
The thing is, though, I can't
And I'll be
even.
very disappointed if
I can
if
barely
nothing
jump
happens.
now. So even if I
Okay.
tried, I'm just gonna fall on the trash can.
I mean, we
good.
can watch
But-
that too.
Yeah.
Equally as funny.
I'll film it in slow mo.
Sweet. This gives me a perfect time to go to my old school and see the kids.
This is great
Yeah, I'm
and
excited.
confusing.
There's another one. I just don't want to share it. That
That's
one's-
fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That was a good story. I don't think
was.
anything's really going to top Johnny's story from last week,
No.
though. So
No.
or last episode,
Which
I
is
should
good.
say.
Good for all of us to not have
Yeah.
experienced that.
Yeah. If you're wondering what we're talking about, go check that out.
It actually made me think. I wonder if you could get into Young Life and then you just get
That just happens
a
to you.
story. You know, like you had a guy in Bible college who
Yeah,
was in Young Life
right, yeah.
who also had a story.
I know.
Johnny,
Yeah.
who else?
Yeah.
You know?
If you start officially helping with Young Life, something else might happen to you.
I'll come back and tell it.
Yeah.
Nicholas is getting excited. He's like, starts to feel the rumbles. He's like, here it comes. This is my story.
This is my moment.
All I had was popcorn.
Starts
too.
creating it for himself, a little X-Lax.
That's funny.
Nick, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Of course.
Nick.
Thanks guys for having
Sharing
me.
your
It was
story.
awesome.
And yeah, see you guys next time.
Bye.